Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
Okay, wait, was that Ricky?
Yes, that was Ricky.
Okay. Okay. All right. So where we left off was we were in the middle of making a payment from Bob Mason. So here I am going to open this window. So I actually found out why I wasn't able to type in the numbers. My number lock was actually not it was disabled, so that's why I couldn't type in all my information. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and write this check for the 1197. Um, what? Why is everything zeroed out? 1197.86. Okay. And if you notice, you can see our $20 charge has been applied to this invoice, and he's going to write this check. And I think it was like 26, 20, was it 26.25? So I'm going to make this 26.50. So here, Bob Mason is going to pay for his items, and this was back in February 2019. So I'm gonna say we gave him an additional extra days, so he paid it on the 1st of March. Actually, no, let's change that. He paid on the end of February. Okay.
Hey, Lynn,
Yes.
I think the check number is 2538.
2538. I mean, it doesn't matter because
Oh,
at
wait
this
a minute.
point.
I can't tell. 25, yeah, 2538, I believe is what it is in the
Okay.
book anyway.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter for this one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, okay, yeah. All right. So now that we've already completed all of this, and Bob Mason is paying, and he's paying additional for the charge that we charged him. You're gonna go ahead and validate that and say save and close. And then if you have the sound on, beep of approval. And if we go to our undeposited funds, we would see that um, our check is still waiting for us to deposit it in our bank. Oh, please don't freeze on me. Okay, all right. Oh. I don't know what's going on. Yep, it completely exited out of me. All right, let me go ahead and restart my program. I apologize, guys. This is not working out today. Today's not even a Monday. Because if for any reason your file crashes, the great thing about it is that when you actually restart it, it's actually going to pull up the last file you were actually currently working on. So that's great. Now I do not know how much it saved up to. Reason being is because it froze at a given point. So it could have froze. I'm gonna double check my deposited undeposited funds, but again, it should have recorded it because I got the beep of approval. But again, you never know when the QuickBooks decides to crash. So you definitely want to make sure that you verify that. If I go into my check register, actually cancel, not the check register. If I go to undeposited funds, I want to make sure that I have that check still there. Yes, so here he gave me a payment, and right here it's for the $1,000.97. Okay, so good. So at least that transaction went through, and we know that we need to deposit this funds as soon as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and leave it in there. just because I want to go ahead and move on forth. Now, the next question asks is going to be, well, what happens if you actually faulted on the payment? Well, if you actually faulted on the payment, there are a list of things that you can do as far as what the measurements that you need to take. And here they are, all six steps. Sorry, and this is going to be on page 155. Okay, so if you write a check, you're responsible to call the vendor and make sure that they know that you got it and that they received that if they received the check, either to let them know there's not enough money in there, or make sure that you, on the other hand, have enough money to be able for them to redeposit it. Now, the best way to go around this is if, let's say, you do write a faulty check, right? So that vendor, they can either charge you an additional charge, just like what we did, and bill you another statement. And what you can do is you're going to void this check. You're going to void the check that you originally wrote for and send out a new one. That is generally the best option you can do. Okay. But oftentimes, like I said, there could be a possibility where you sent the check out, it's waiting, it's never being cleared, and you're kind of wondering, well, where's the check? You call them and they say, we didn't even receive a check, so we already charged you for all this stuff. And if they haven't received the check, worst case scenario, you're gonna have to find where that check is. Okay? It could be maybe the person that was supposed to deposit it or someone that was supposed to mail it out left it in their desk. We don't know. So, so it's always good to make sure that that wherever the check is supposed to go is in the hands of whoever you wrote it to. Now with that, and then you write another check, and then all of a sudden it bounces back because you didn't have enough money at that time. So that's why it's very important that you do your bank reconciliation for that reason. Is again to make sure that the vendor gets the money, but also that whatever you're doing, that you have enough money in your bank. Okay. So if they were to charge you an additional fee, then you can go ahead and tell them to send you a new bank statement. And what you're going to do is write a new check, but make sure that you void that check because, people these days, they might want to kind of fish you out and deposit both checks so they can, take all your money. So make sure that that you are responsible for when you write a check, that if that person does not receive it, you either void it or you call them up and let them know what's going on, and then you void the check, okay, and write a new one. So these are just the 6 steps that you want to make sure that you want to go over if in case you do write a bad check. So go ahead and follow those lines. Now, there is no actual example of us writing a bad check just because, in this scenario, we don't have someone that's receiving our checks. So we wouldn't be able to have someone to send us a bill with that amount of fee that they're going to charge us. Okay?
And I have a question.
Yes.
When you say void a check,
Mm-hmm.
do you mean, is that the same as stop payment with the bank or no?
Did you say stock payment?
When you say void the check, is that the same as a stop, S-T-O-P, stop payment from the bank?
Yes, I believe so. But if you're gonna call the bank and tell them, I think so. It says right here. If you void a check, make sure that you let your bank know too. But obviously, if they void the check and someone tries to deposit it, it's not going to go through. Okay. So, yes. So, you definitely.
Who? Then who is this?
Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky. Just
Yes,
unless you subscribe to an online feed with your bank. No, what you do in QuickBook is totally different with your bank. So if you void a check in QuickBooks, you need to call the bank to make sure that check is canceled.
Yeah.
okay.
Or stop payment. QuickBooks will not do that for you unless you have a online feed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So yes, in most cases, you should definitely tell your bank that you're voiding a check. So then they, on their hand, they can go ahead and stop the check for you. But in most cases, yes. So you want to make sure that you get connected to your bank and tell them, I voided this check. So QuickBooks tells you what you did for your company, your personal, but you need to make sure that you tell your bank and also tell the vendor too that, hey, I'm sending you a new check. Okay, so the check that you have in your hand, tear it up because it's voided. You can't get anything out of it. But then again, it's like, it's up to your discretion. So this next part is going to be recording credit card accounts and paying the bill. So this is what I really want to actually have the time to show you. Reason being, because most of our classes, like, we never get the chance to look at credit card reconciliations, or get the chance to understand how you pay your credit card bills. And with today's society, we are using credit cards more frequently than we are using a cash basis, right? Everywhere we go, we have a credit card. We swipe, right? So I just want to make sure I go over this with you because most of the classes so far, I actually have you guys read this on your own, and because essentially it is pretty much the same thing as if you are going to do a regular bank statement. The only difference is you get the opportunity at the end of the day to actually pay your bill. So in this case, I do want to go over this. So it is the same as if you are doing a bank statement reconciliation. So again, here on page, let me see, it's on page 156. We're looking here at the credit card statement from National Visa Bank. The credit card company, right? So here we notice that it's going to be for the same, actually this is going to be for February. So for February of 2019, we want to go ahead and make sure that our credit balance matches our actual, our credit card balance matches our new balance at the end of the day. So we want to make sure this number here matches. So we are right now have an overstatement of 184.81. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and use my QuickBooks to go ahead and reconcile that. Now, again, it's the same thing. You can go reconcile here, or you can go to banking and be able to reconcile there. All right. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and take the easy shortcuts and click my home page right here. So again, you're going to see the same exact window, but except the only difference that you're going to have is instead of using your checking section, you're going to go ahead and drop down, and you're going to go ahead and find your National Visa Gold credit card. So once you've done that, now the format of it is going to change a little bit. And it wants to make sure that you want to do it for February of 2019, 2018? 2019, no? So let me go ahead and verify that it's 2019 and not 18. 2019, yes. So I need to go ahead and change this date way far. And that I want to do for 2019, 28, okay? And then here it gives me my beginning balance. So I'm supposed to start off with $2,152. Now, this is going to be different than what your actual balance is. This is going to determine to you, this is the amount of credit you actually are receiving. This isn't the amount that you owe, okay? So be careful when you're looking at a credit card because it will give you this amount. We do not actually owe $2,000. It's just that's how much credit they allow and give us, okay? This is how much we have remaining. So make sure that you understand that. So it's looking at your credit card statement, right? You have a balance that's overdue, and then you have the available credit balance, okay? So make sure that you understand that. So now it's asking me what my ending balance should be, and it should be 184.82, I believe. Okay, so let me see. It should be 81. So 184.81. Okay, and then we're gonna make sure that our picture actually matches the actual picture here. Okay, so yes, we're supposed to have 2,152 credit available, and what our new statement balance is going to be due is going to be 184.81. Here we're going to recognize that we should have a finance charge for $16.11, and it's going to be interest expense. Okay, so remember how credit cards, they charge you interest because you're using them, right? So depending on what credit card company you are working with will depend on how much interest you are going to be receiving every single month. So I'm going to go ahead and validate this right here. So $16.11, and make sure that it's for 2019, February 28th of 2019. And then again, the account is going to be overhead because it doesn't affect any of my it doesn't affect, oh sorry, this is interest income, interest expense. And then we want to make sure that our overhead, our class is overhead, because it doesn't affect any of our store locations. It only affects our company total. So once we've already filled all the information out, we matched it to our credit card statement, we're going to go ahead and continue. So here it's going to pull up all of our credit card transactions, and here we've done a cash advance, and we also did two transactions here. So we're going to go ahead and compare our credit card statement again to see what actually matched and what do we actually owe. So here we have three transactions that went through. Well, actually one. So the first one's going to be what you started with. Okay, so payment, thank you. Because, so you did owe $2,000. So this is us giving them their money back. So we paid the credit card off completely. Now, in this case, we charged it for $133, and we charged it again for $35. And here we've also, so those are the two things that we saw. Now, the bank reconciliation in the credit card is similar. So down here, we still have that we owe, that we have a difference of $1,900. Now, if we go ahead and check mark that we had that credit card transaction for $35 and for the $133, we're going to go ahead and see that we still owe this much money. And this was our payment that we originally wrote for. And as you can see from the top, that is the first transaction here. So here, this is our payment to the bank. So we're making sure that we zeroed it out and making sure that we also covered our new transactions that happened. So as you can see, we're down to zero, and our new balance is $184.81, which is exactly how much we owe on the credit card. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and click this, and then you're going to see here. Now, this is what is going to happen. So this is the difference between entering your bank reconciliation and actually doing your credit card reconciliation. So here, it gives you the option, do you want to write a check for the payment amount, or do you want to actually create a bill for the payment later? And I'm going to go ahead and enter the bill for the payment later because it's not due yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and what's going to happen is it's going to pull up a bill form for you right here. Okay? Now, and then it's gonna ask you, do you want a summary or a detailed things about your credit card? And I'm gonna go ahead and click close. I don't want to see it now. I want to see it later. So again, we're gonna be looking at our bill, and the great thing about this is you do not have to pay the entire $184.81. You can actually pay less or whatever that you want to do, because when you make the payment to the credit card, it's just going to reduce it by whatever amount that you've created it for. So here you need to edit the information here now if you are planning to pay less than the amount that is due. Okay, if you just went ahead and just validated everything and you left the amount as $184.81, that means your bill will be outstanding if you do not pay. And it's going to give you reminders to keep paying it, and then it's going to also it's just going to keep popping up saying that you still owe this much amount of money. So make sure that you toggle it here if you do not plan to pay the full $184.81. And in this case, I am going to pay it. Memo, I'm going to go ahead and write credit card Visa. And yes, so making sure that you have that, and it's going to be net 30. And making sure that you check the date of when that bill was sent to you, which it comes on the end of the month. Okay. Yes. Okay. And the amount due right here is $184.81. Again. Yes.
Excuse me. Where did you say you toggle if you don't pay the full amount?
You can toggle it right here.
That's where you would toggle to.
Yes, you could toggle here, or you could do it down here. It doesn't really matter, because in the end, it's going to change the amount. So if, let's say I don't want to pay, I only want to pay $150. That means I need to do it now here to say I'm only going to pay $150. I'm not going to pay the full $184.81. What's going to happen is when you get your new statement bill, your balance should match that right there, saying that you owe $184. And it's going to take, remember when we looked at the thing, it's going to say you've already paid $150 worth of it. And if you keep charging your card, it's just going to build up and build up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so remember, if you plan not to pay it off, you need to edit the information here, because the bill will be outstanding if you do not pay the full amount. Now, what you can do is, let's say you just went ahead and just pushed forward. You can go ahead and go back and edit the bill, so then it's marked for how much you're actually going to start paying it for. So you can edit bills after they have been entered. Okay, so there is that. So again, I'm going to actually pay for the full $184.81, and I'm going to go ahead and click save and close. So again, if you have sound, you get the beep of approval. So now that's what happens when you are doing that, and as you can tell, it already included the interest in there for the $16.11. So yes, so that is that. That is how you do credit card transactions. Now again, if you want to actually look at your credit card transactions, you would have to go to your chart of accounts and find that National Visa credit card, which is a liability. And from there, you'd be able to look at your transactions there. So I'm going to go ahead and look it up this way, and I'm going to double click. And here is my credit card transaction. So here, I've already had 2 credit card transactions, and look, I've created a bill in regards to that $184.81. It's already created, and it found out that I'm paying off this bill, okay? So now all you have to do is make the payment to the bill, and it will record it, And so it will either reduce the amount XYZ. If you charge it, it will just keep going, toggle back and forth. So that is how you deal with credit cards. Okay.
Lynn?
Yes.
Even though it's showing right here as a payment, it still has to be paid.
Yes. No. This is a bill, as in we didn't pay it yet.
Right, I'm just looking at the payment and the balance on this register. So
Mm.
it's saying, so that's saying payment due over here on the right.
On the right, all the way.
Payment and balance, so it's saying balance is 0 now, payment 184.81.
Yes. Okay, so this is just saying, so this is our balance right here, right? We never made our payment. This is just us validating that we have a bill
Okay,
set in place and that we will pay it off.
so if you would have done the 150 like you said, would
Mhm.
that have just 150 right here and then 34.81 under balance?
Yes, that would be, yes. You if anything, here, let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and double click this, and I can right here. I will edit my information for you. So let's say I do only want 150. I click save and close, and I say yes. So here in my credit card statement, yes. So here, as you can see, 150. My balance is $34, and yes.
Okay, thank you. I just needed to see it.
No worries. I got you. So again, you are able to manipulate the bill. Let's say I validated for 184, but I changed my mind. I'm gonna change. I wanna pay 150 instead. So yes, you can manipulate. You can change your bill at any time. Again, for your personal business, this is fine. You could do whatever you want. But if you're working for a company and you do this, there could be there could be things that could be involved that could get you in trouble if you were to just fix it on your own. Okay, make sure that you talk with your accountant. If you're the accountant, of course you can make those executive decisions, but you want to be very careful when working with QuickBooks. Okay, now no one's going to expect you to be a professional at this, but just know that you can make a lot of human errors while entering things into QuickBooks. Even though QuickBooks does it for you, ultimately, who's the one that's filling in the information? You are. So make sure that you are careful when dealing with making your bills and stuff. Okay. But yes, if you were to do that, as you could see, you made a payment for 150, and it changes the balance here that you still owe $34. All right. So I believe that is all I want to show you. Everything else, go ahead and read. Okay, so I do want to talk to you about bank feeds. So it is an option that you can, as Mr. Sanchez touched upon very briefly. So what happens with a bank feed is it is an option for you to connect your online banking with your QuickBooks. Now, QuickBooks claims that they are very safe and that they use a safe platform for you to be able to access your bills and whatnot via using the QuickBooks application. But it's already dangerous as it is to just put all your information, because again, if you don't lock your information, what happens is if you let people have access to it, if you don't have a password protection, anything that's on your computer is pretty much up for grabs. And you definitely don't want to do that, especially if you have, your customers' information, their credit card information, your bank's information. You have a lot of risk when you're dealing with QuickBooks and you're sharing it with other people. Now, obviously, when you start with a company, they're going to give you a password, and what's going to happen is when you set up your user, you're only going to have access to a few things, and whoever the accountant is going to have access to all of it, and they would have a separate admin user login. Now, hold on, I can't find, for some reason, I think my For some reason, my icon bar doesn't show my bank feeds, but I do. I'm supposed to have a bank feed, something on my icon bar, but you're probably more likely to be able to find it via through
Right there, Lynn. Lynn, you just scrolled to it. It's right there under employees.
under employees. I see reports, documents,
Keep going up.
up.
QuickBooks 2020 and then bank feeds.
Hold on.
Right there.
Oh, here. Yeah. Right here. Yes. So if you click it, it's gonna automatically okay, hold on. It's gonna automatically try to connect to the internet. So this again, if you connect your bank, your online banking via through the bank feeds, you can you're able to pay your bills online. And what's gonna happen is if you connect QuickBooks to it and allow it to have access to it, it will update your QuickBooks with the given permission. Okay. Again, that's going to be something that you're going to have to actually read on your own, just because, one, I don't have a bank account. Two, that's confidential information, and three, yes, I would not want to have my stuff exposed like that, and I don't have a fake bank account that I can use. So go for the purpose of your own, for your own company, or if you're working for a company, this is something that you want to read on your own and go through that completely. So it will give you the whole setup on how to do it via internet. And the great thing about bank feeds is, yes, you can do your online banking, and it can update your QuickBooks files at the same time.
It also says that bank fees may apply, so would you be putting in another chart of account number for that?
We already have one set as banking service fees.
Oh, okay. You're just
So,
going under that.
yes. So, in case you don't have it for any reason, then yes, you would create your chart of accounts. You would have to create that, because that would be an expense to your company.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So let's go ahead and go over the review questions real quick, and then we can go ahead and dive into chapter 6. Okay. So, question number 1. Okay, this one has a long answer. So, can I just read the question? All right. Number 1. When the beginning balance field, okay, on the begin reconciliation window does not match the beginning balance on the bank statement, you should what?
C.
Yes. Generally, they say the longest answer will be the correct answer, but in this case, it's pretty straightforward, because it pretty much outlines the actual steps it took to be able to get to the bank reconciliation, right? You would have to go make sure that the beginning balances are going to be there. If not, you would locate the discrepancy, right? Okay. That's the only one that actually seems the most logical, and just me doing the steps, that's exactly what happens. So C is the correct answer. All right, next question is going to be number 2. Which statement is false? Okay, not true. The one that's not right. Okay, so A, you can enter bank service charges using the enter statements charges. Okay, or is it B? You can enter bank service charges on the begin reconciliation window. C, you can enter bank service charges using the register transaction. Or D, you can enter bank service charges using write a checks before you start your reconciliation. Which one is false?
A?
A is correct. A is the false one, because no, when you enter statement charges, I don't remember where that is on my QuickBooks, but I don't actually remember seeing an enter statement charges. But again, enter statement charges, that is more applied to your customers. You know, it doesn't really apply to you, because you're not applying it to your own statement. These are statement charges that you apply to your customers. So A is actually the false one. Again, yes, you would remember when we did our bank reconciliation, the very first thing that it asks you is to enter in your bank service charges. So B is correct. The bank service charges, okay, using the register. So yes, you can actually go ahead and use the check register and enter in the bank's charges. That way you can clear it off right away. Or you can write a check in for the bank service charges before you start your reconciliation. So these two are kind of similar. They're on the same path, and these two are actually correct. I didn't talk about it, but you can go ahead and write your check off for the service charges immediately before starting your reconciliation. Okay. All right, number 3. When you find errors, I can't say that, erroneous amounts, erroneous on a transaction which, while reconciling, okay, correct the amount by, okay,
C.
you put C, so by selecting the entry in the reconcile window. Anybody else?
I put D.
Okay, you put D. Let me see. D, you
which is
put,
either B or C.
Well, you can do B also.
yes, D is the correct one. You can do B as well. Okay, you can by double clicking on the entry on the yes, you can, excuse me, I'm sorry, you can do B. That is one way to do it, and C is definitely correct. Okay, A is not so much correct. Selecting the banking menu and then selecting correct error, there actually is none of that. Okay, there is none. I did show you 2 ways to correct the entry, right? Okay, and A is definitely not one of them. All right, number 4. To properly record a voided check from a closed accounting period. Okay, so this means when you've made changes in the past, and let's say you canceled a check because your vendor for some reason didn't, submit it into the bank, and you've already closed out your books. So you need to go back in the past and void it. Which of the following is going to be what you're going to do? Are you going to delete the check in the register? Are you going to make a deposit in the current period and and code it to the same exact account as the original? That one's too long to read. Or C, find a check in the register, select it and edit the menu, and then change and then select void check. Or D, change the amount on the check to 0.
Well, I know we're not supposed to delete, right?
Yes, they highly recommend you not to delete.
C?
Okay, anybody else?
No, I got C.
Okay, and let me see, chapter 5. You're correct. It is C. It is C. Find the check and the register, edit it, and you would click void. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward question because it says right here, how do you void, like basically if you need to void a check, what are you going to do? You're just going to go in there, edit it, and void it. Correct. So this is then once you voided it, it's going to create discrepancy in your bank statement. So make sure that you are aware every time you do something like that. All right. Lastly, number 5, when which of the following? Which of the following columns cannot be displayed in the checks and payments section of the reconciliation? What do you not see? Do you see A, the check number, B, the class, C, the date, or D, the payee?
Since it says columns, wouldn't it be B, the class?
Yes. Okay, yes. Because when you're reconciling when you're in the reconciling window, you have to have the check number, you have to have the date, and most importantly, I don't think you have to have the payee, but it's also nice to make sure that the person that you wrote the check to received it. Class has nothing to do with your bank. Okay? So yes, B is correct. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, oopsies, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and stop this.